For the prayers of our Holy Fathers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Gotcha. My mic's working. Anyway, okay. Well, for those who don't know, my name is Father Joseph Swaden. I've been the editor of NFTU, True Orthodox and Ecumenical News, since 2004. We've been on Facebook and YouTube for years, and banned and brought back on other platforms, and here we are. Tonight we do our live Q&A broadcast, where you can get your questions answered live, as well as member requested video reviews. So let's get started. And as always, if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click a link in the top of the chat. I will be taking super chats. If you want a question or comment without super chatting, I'll answer it, but you might miss it if I don't put it up. So for Benedicte, people asking for a blessing, Kevin, anonymous man, and let me see here. That seems to be about it for today. But for whoever, may God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Unseen warfare is shocked. I know. I actually remembered to turn on the microphone. It's amazing. Let's take a look here. Cybercrapper. I hope Father covers the freaky Father Moses video. I mean, it's not freaky to me. For those who don't know, Father Moses McPherson of the Rocorn MP bought a $2 million house. I guess they got together. Memento Mori, God bless you. And bought that, and apparently people are just shocked by it. Just shocked. But the real reason they're shocked is because he came in with a Mr. Beast intro. And so, I mean, it's that alone basically is worth watching. Because it's just cheesy. But past that, it's like okay. Why not? Let's just start by getting stuff over with. I gotta get stuff over with. So here we go.
Today we bought this $2 million mansion. And
note, it's even the old Mr. Beast font.
We're gonna transform it into a church.
Hey, that's me, Father Moses. Top of our.
You're actually not going to transform it into a church. You talk about that here.
That are set out upon doing that. Of course, we're going to be met with a lot of resistance in the spiritual realm, because as St. Paul says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Sorry, wrong spot. Here we go.
Location for our church. We were looking at this yesterday, and it makes the most sense to put it right smack dab here, and then.
Okay, so we're not transforming the mansion into the church long term. That's temporary until you put up a building, and then I guess you get to live in a mansion where, what was it? You get to have a gym.
In the entire building, we can smash the mirrors and turn this into a gym. Here it is.
All right, I'm done. Anyway, so the point is that he's trying to be like Mr. Beast, moderately entertaining. I don't know that, I think that he's trying to make Orthodox stuff look pop. To that degree, I can't fault him for that. Everyone's trying to grow their channels on YouTube. And you end up trying to emulate channels that you think will help grow, your channel. So, Atomic Lead, the mute button lost tonight. Father Antonio says a clown. True. Anonymous man says, I have a question regarding Christology. So Christ is both God and man. Being that he's both human and divine, doesn't that mean he has two natures? Yes, it does. Why do the OOs say he has one? Because they choose to reject language that talks about two natures being indescribably united and instead mix them together. That's the whole thing. Been that way for 1,600 years. Sunrise says, Father Moses got a mansion. Father Joseph has the NFTU castle coming soon. Do you guys not hear me ask for money? Because I ain't got no castle coming soon, buddy. I gotta pay. I can't even pay the mortgage right now. Well, I could. Google paid me. It was great. I got $260, which went mostly to food. So, yeah, I am. Now that you've gotten me in the begging mood, allow me to start begging by saying support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. I have even the thank you slider, which is currently empty. That makes sense. We've only started 5 minutes ago. And, basically, I'm trying to, like, should I put the target? Maybe I should put a target. Should I put a target? I'm going to put a target. You know what? I'm going to put a target. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put a crazy target because I have no idea how I will ever get to this, but I have to pay the mortgage. So I'm just going to put in big letters, target 500. Why not? Just because of the fact that I don't know. I have no idea whether anything will happen with that. Wow. Okay. Well, I got something. That was amazing. Thank you. Hey, thank you. And I'm not sure how to announce whether to announce it as K or should I say full names? Should I put that out there? But I got to change this already because I have been given by KK, and that is via the PayPal, a $10. So now the target is $4.90. Nice. Okay, I did something wrong. All right. So, yeah, I have not much to say about that. I get it. Everyone's trying to kind of build their YouTube channels. I kind of feel a little bit sorry for Father Moses with his stupid hot holy video, but maybe it worked. Maybe that's how he got that money. So, again, that's if you want to support the channel, you can, and I'm hoping to see that. And I do appreciate the super chats because maybe downing on super chats is not a good idea because that might explain why I was just basically half the mortgage. Let me see. Atomic Lead is basically arguing, yes, that's exactly what they believe, and it is. Reckon Keisa says, Father, ASMR is the way to go. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish that sometimes the suggestions weren't hurtful. Like, I feel like maybe some people really believe that, like, I could just, like, walk away from this and I'll be fine. This is literally my only work. This is what I do. And I do, I do, stuff that related to being a priest. And I just started working on incense again. Not going for pity here. I want more, I want more content. I want more defense of orthodoxy. So, but don't suggest stuff like Nikocado avocado. I mean, I feel sorry for the man. He clearly had his own plan to get famous. And the whole thing was just really degenerate. It's like asking me to do other things that are just questionably moral. Like I mean, to me, I don't know. It just says something about how you see me as a person. Father, do you know what the general consensus is on Mark 9:38-41? I found that online, say ecumenists seem to think this is a good support. I read St. Theophilact's commentary, but he lived before Protestants' time. I mean, I need to know the context here. We can look at Mark 9:38-41, but I don't understand what difference it would make if St. Theophylact lived 200, 300 years before Protestants or not. So let's go to, let's see here. Okay. For the online Bible we're going to use today. And so we're going to go with Katana. We're being technical. Let's go to Mark 9:38-41. And John answered him, saying, Teacher, we saw one casting out demons in your name, and he followed on us. We forbade him because he followed not us. But Jesus said, Forbid him not, for there is no man who shall do a miracle in my name that can soon after speak evil of me. For he that is not against us is for us. For he says, Whoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, verily I say to you, he shall not lose his reward. Being that this was written before the foundation of the Church of Pentecost, was before the crucifixion, I don't see it as necessarily a very strong argument for heterodox outside the church. I've seen that brought up. I just don't think it has too much significance. It's like the miraculous events that occurred in the gospel are things that to a lesser degree can occur now, but not after all the events displayed in the gospel, including the establishment of the Church of Pentecost. So yeah, I mean, I'll chalk that up to random healings here where God has mercy, but I don't think that's a general way to live your life. Let me see here. You don't have the trad, Chad, Roku, or MP fraud. I mean, I guess I'm not a fraud. The only thing I could think is the passage was during Jesus' earthly ministry and before Pentecost. Yeah, that seems to be a straightforward conclusion. Atomic Leads, trust saints over random layman on YouTube. Absolutely. And the gluttony, don't forget the gluttony with Nick sarcasm aside. I don't care for Nick's content. ASMR is worse. Right. Like, these are things that honestly a priest shouldn't be doing. Like, making sounds so for people to be go to sleep or be tantalized, and don't even argue that it's all innocent. I'm not stupid. I mean, it's, to me, if you're like, hey there, true Orthodox priest, you should do some ASMR. I mean, it's like, why not just spit at me? No, it's okay, Reconquista. I know you're joking. But I think there are people who take that seriously. They're like, oh, he's asking for money. Beg, Doogie, beg, and I'm like, wow. Like, okay. Yeah, I know, Anonymous. I think they might be joking. The problem is that I mean, I get it, and it's okay, like, but I can't joke. Yeah, let me see. Donald Smith, I read some St. John of Damascus, very good. Denise said nothing spiritual godly about that video. I thought it was rather interesting in nature. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. I think it was a little bit of self-promotion, but I don't, I question the logic behind buying, the house first and then building the church after that. Nothing justifies ecumenism. Reconquista. Did Father Moses buy the place? I never watched the video. I thought it was clickbait. Well, it was clickbait, but yeah, from what I understand, he did. But they're trying to raise the funds to pay it off, the $2 million. Which tells me that most likely he's put the parish on a mortgage, the future parish on a mortgage. I'm guessing it'd probably be like $3,000. Reconquista, clickbait, that's compromise. They bought it and plan to build a church next to it. Yeah, yep, showed that. Yeah, he bought it for a couple $1 million, but in cash? I don't know if it was in cash. Anonymous Man 115. I'm looking for the fountain of knowledge. I have his exact exposition of the Orthodox faith, but the other two parts I can't find. Try searching the fount of all knowledge. I'm pretty sure there is a public domain translation of St. John on that. Reconquista says, what are they doing with the actual building? It's going to be a house, parish/house. So, and then eventually they'll build the parish outside it. So, Father Moses will have a nice big gym. Sunrise says, Father, I know I asked this before, but isn't it kind of an issue that Roquefort ordinations came from the SIR considering what they believed? And my answer is still no, because I don't think that the SIR didn't have orders. I will not take it that far. I believe that once you do, then the entire Orthodox world starts becoming radically inconsistent outside of the Matthewites and some liars. And I distinguish between the Matthewites and some liars because the Matthewites, trying to, at least the most extreme ones who don't admit to any touching of their orders, even though that would make them uncanonical, at least don't have any of the other stuff. When you start talking about like people like the Macarians, so on and so forth, there's been intermixing between different true Orthodox bishops in terms of the laying on of hands, in terms of, the questions of ecclesiology were not that set in the 80s and 90s, and 1980s and 1990s. And so you start running into much more internal inconsistency as you keep that up. So yeah, I think that that's just problematic, to say the least. Let me see here. Maybe he's been getting that Alex Jones money, super male vitality. Yeah, I don't know. I know that, once you have once you have a certain number of followers, you can survive just on, you could survive on YouTube advertising. It would not be easy, but I mean, between me and the super chats and the ads, but mostly super chats, which, haven't, they've been going down a bit. You can make a few $100s. So imagine if that's the case with somebody with 2,600 followers. Congratulations. Many years. I'm so happy we made it that far. To somebody with like 13,000 followers, 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. Like once you start seeing higher numbers like that, that makes a difference in terms of things like YouTube ad revenue. And I'm going to lay it all out to you. I'm going to tell you the truth about it. I have no reason to hide it because I don't make enough off it to hide it. Let me see here. Yeah, Sunrise says they're looking at the union agreement with the GSCK. Yep. Death to compromise says they're going to turn it into an ortho rec center. Recklin Kisa says Father Moses OCR Rocor. Father Moses is Rocor MP. I gotta clarify that. Too many people, man, they get into the terminology of our opponents, for lack of a better word. Rocor MP is just part of a Rocor, of a divided Rocor. And so ultimately, if we just say, oh, that's Rocor, we're falling for their, kind of choice of terminology. And it's one that we should not do. So let's not do that. All right. So let's get that off the screen. Let's see here. Of course, I'm gonna put this up. We got a Twitter guy. Let me see here. Let's share the tab. Okay. Zealot Moses asks, okay, I'm gonna deal with Theology because that's a story in itself, kind of a joke. My serious question: am I an ecumenist? My metropolitan is Nikolai Kondrea and has attended the World Council of Churches. I have not heard him express a very positive view of ecumenism, not to say that it doesn't therefore exist. And my priest refuses ecumenism. Now, I know you guys, a lot of my listeners are high info people and know who this guy is just by name. I do not. And so I use a search engine. And so who is this? This is the Romanian Orthodox Metropolia. Everyone loves Metropolia again. We brought that back. Anyway, so let's see here. Metropolia of the Americas. All right. Well, who is he and where do they? Okay, so they're part of SCOBA. See, he got it right here. He put SCOBA, even though canonical they added later. Okay, so the answer then, unfortunately, let me go back to the Twitter. I apologize, but let's see here. Yeah, is part of the Romanian Patriarchate, and we would recommend going under the many true Orthodox in Romania. And if you are in the US, find a okay, so we put that up there. Thanks to that for that Zealot Moses. And let's see. Crazy, I didn't say such a thing, says E.J. Roswell, Catholic acolyte and um, perennial Twitter poster. I said specifically Stephen V's letter was received by Leo the Sixth because Basil had died from them, but no one from that time accepted 879 in toto universally as noted. Your argument's an argument from silence, considering it's an imperial council. We've already discussed this. These folks are desperate to try to rehabilitate the sorry pseudo council of 869, which was annulled by 879, which the emperor was there for, all the patriarchates, including Rome, were there for. It's pretty desperate. I would say it's a pretty desperate mentality. Yeah, I'm just yep. Okay, now you're literally quoting yourself. All right, buddy. Well, answering live. And I'm going to put a link to the StreamYard because why not? We're just going to invite some guy from Twitter on here. All right. So, anyway, let's continue on. Okay. All the same, really, probably Rookor MP. Father, why is the canon of scripture different between the Russian and Georgian traditions? For example, I'm not aware that the canon of scripture is different between the Russians and the Georgians, but if it is, we've talked about this before. There are slight differences in the Greek and Russian canons due to the Septuagint versus the Slavonic Bible production. And it's kind of silly because they're usually among very marginal books, like usually like Third Maccabees or something, and they're considered not at the same level of scripture, but they are considered teaching books, as St. Basil notes, and as is noted in the Catechism of St. Philaret, and they're read to catechumens, so that catechumens are aware of what is in these texts because it is holy history. So it's lower than scripture, but higher than regular texts, and I just don't see a big deal about it. And it really is a Protestant and to a lesser degree Roman Catholic problem than it is a problem for us. We should love all the books that are historically recognized by all the churches, and we should review them. Let's see here. On my channel, I have my Eastern Orthodox Bible playlist, and it has both 4 Maccabees and 2nd Esdras. Yeah, those books are fine. So, I don't know what they're talking about. It's Shrek. But anyway, let's see here. So let's take that off and let's continue on as we continue forward. Yeah, it is more of a curiosity, but the point is these are arguments that people who take these things that we don't take too seriously, very seriously, because that is the foundation of their religion. And you have to start by noting that the underpinnings of their religion are therefore based on nonsense. And so let me see here. I've had repeated requests. I will say this, and I'm going to take this off because I've had repeated requests from various and sundry monophysite lay people to join the streams or have them come on here, so on and so forth. I'm going to make it very clear as to why I do not debate monophysite lay people on the internet. And the reason is they lie. They lie a lot. And they lie a lot about the most important and basic thing, which is when they bring up Chalcedon and they bring up St. Leo and they bring up all of our various saints, disparagingly talking about how they're heretics, so on and so forth, they all neglect to mention that they're all in some form of legal, spiritual communion with the Chalcedonian New Calendarist Patriarch of Antioch, which means that all of their ranting about these various things are irrelevant. They're in communion. This is part of the reason why I said, well, fine, let's have a priest on. Let's have a bishop on to verify that, because some of these lay people have claimed, oh no, those agreements are worthless. We threw them out. Who threw them out? Who threw them out? Well, it turns out no one threw them out, which is why there's no priest or bishop who's willing to go on the record and say that. So that just means these lay apologists are just a bunch of high-pitched liars. And I don't argue with high-pitched liars knowingly. So that answers that question. Let's continue on. And yeah, it is hard to take them seriously when they're clergy or ecumenists. And I mean, to some degree, this is part of why I'm not a big fan of discussing with them. We did have discussions with a couple of these lay people once before they became popular, thanks to David Erhan. Because we actually were trying to just convert people to Orthodoxy, and we talked to them, and then, I think maybe I'll just put the banner back because this is part of the history, and I have to remind people that then at that time, David Erhan and Jay Dyer were increasingly obsessed with making sure nobody knew who we were and attacking us. So Erhan created this video attacking our video, which we just brought up church fathers on this subject, and he just slammed it. He really tried his best to make the monophysites look good. He did it so well they did. And unfortunately, then they started using the arguments that Erhan gave them because he doesn't believe in anything, and began building up their apologetic over a few years, to the point where 2 years later, Erhan had to actually do the homework and read why 1,500 years ago the Holy Fathers condemned these people. I mean, wasn't there a Spider-Man movie based on this where you make up the enemy before you defeat him? I feel like this was a recent Spider-Man movie. Anyway, the point is, once you create the straw man, you eat it. All right. So what is going on here? Let me see here. Wait, hold on. I have a note. I don't have a note. Let me see something here. Okay. Whoa. Okay. All right. Thank you. Look, I'm gonna say JH. I do not know if you guys want me to say your names, because I know a lot of people on YouTube put up names. If you want me to say your name, say your name. But what I will do is I shall add to the ticker. Hold on. Press the wrong button to add to the ticker. But I am adding to the ticker live. And now the target is 440. That's right. Somebody donated $50. JH, I want to thank you so much for that and really appreciate it. Keeping us alive. And then somebody said, wasn't there some group of non-Chalcedonians that rejected ecumenism? I know they're in error due to their Christology, but I thought there was some group. Yeah, there was. Actually, there was a group that, if I remember correctly, there was a group of monophysites that broke off. They rejected ecumenism, but then they went to the Roman calendar. They switched completely to the Gregorian calendar. John says, Spider-Man, No Way Home. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Mysterio. Yeah, basically, like you create the enemy so you can destroy it. It's just such ridiculousness. Atomic Lead says, LOL. That's funny. That's kryptonite. Yeah, it kind of is. Yay, the 3-hour stream. Well, I don't know. Put your money where your mouth is, and we might do it. But right now we're currently in the currently in the 32nd minute of the first hour. So we'll see. Unseen Warfare says anyone who sends should leave a note to say their name or not. If you can. Not all payment methods have a way of saying a note. But I will at least use initials. It's traditional, people know. Until someone tells me better, at least I'm gonna do the thingamabobs. Initials. Yeah. All right. So that is the answer to the question as to why I don't debate monophysite lay people on the internet, because their foundations are based on lies. Whether they want to admit it or not, they're in communion with Chalcedonians. They are equal with Chalcedonians. Their mysteries are recognized with Chalcedonians and each other, just not us, because we're not just Chalcedonian. We're serious about it. Take those things serious. Let's see here. What else we got? Let's go. Kevin Klein says this is a time of night where I have to get my 6-year-old to sleep. I usually can't make it to the end of this 2-hour show, let alone 3. Yeah. Well, one thing that I want to do is I got to get back to making more clips. I thought I could do it with AI. It's very nice for making little shorts, but it's not good for making clips like the one we had. For that guy, for example, I had to make a clip of what's his name? It was that guy that was on the angry atheist guy, Taco Salad, I think his name was, if I remember. So yeah, so Taco Salad was we answered him. We went on his channel. He basically muted us, and so after muting us, we I had my StreamYard live, so I was still recording. But then I found out later that they were like, "Oh, you ran away." And then I checked like an hour later, they're still streaming and still like, "You were so dishonest." I'm like, "Dude, you had your mute button on. How can I be dishonest? Like rent free, leave me alone." So yeah, that guy was pointless. Let me see here. Reconquista says, "Listen to the stream with the 6-year-old tomorrow's spring break. Is it? Is it that early? I know. I don't think the Roman Catholics finished Lent yet. Wow. Why is it so early? Is there a Jewish holiday? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's about it. Let's take a look here. It's let's see here if we got anything else. There's talk about I have to talk to Sava about it, but we're gonna do a stream, or he's gonna do a stream. I feel like if I could find like somebody else to host it, because I don't want to be in the middle of it. He wants to talk about the old believers, which if it was just Sava talking about the old believers, I wouldn't care too much. There's problems with them, so on and so forth. But then some guy was an old believer. I guess he reached out in the DMs on the Twitter on X, the DMs, and so let me see here. Okay, that's just Unseen Warfare commenting on Twitter. But I asked if he wanted some kind of debate. So he didn't say anything. But I assume that that's kind of what it was. That this must be some fight on Discord between like some online old believers who've probably never milked a cow or anything, and they're just like, yeah. So like, I've joined the old believers, and so yeah, we're more ancient than you. Yeah, yeah. And like, nobody knows the state of Russia before the Niconian reforms, where not even all of the liturgical books were consistent in parts of Russia. The whole point was to standardize the books. That's it. And then like, but it's usually like low info World Orthodox guys will be like, "Oh, you're like those guys," and of course the 5 internet old believers, as Sunrise points out, they're like, yeah, that's us. And it's like most real old believers don't use the internet. So like you're already like, there's your flash warning that this is probably not a real old believer. Oh, Dutch Vanderlyn says hello. And so greetings. And so let me see here. Yeah, it's usually kind of wacky how we see things here. What we got here. Okay. Okay. Hold on one moment. We got a gift from Cash App, and that is, hold on. You do. Okay, so 1 minute. I gotta update the books. Okay. We got something here from MF. Thank you, MF, for $5 donation on Cash App. Bring down the crazy, insane, illogical target to 435. Amazing. All right. Now I'm feeling like we might be able to do something. Come on, let's get some super chats. Yeah. Thank you, Kevin, for another donation. John says, trad old believers traveling to a small village in Russia. Yeah, sure, if you do that. But I guarantee you, if you're traveling to a small village in Russia, trying to convince the local elders, the starosti of the old believer in the town, if that's your goal, then ultimately, I respect that. But you know what? I'm not going to be hearing about you from Discord. I'm not going to be hearing about you from Telegram or anywhere. So hold on. And so, hold on. Yeah, no, it's okay, Kevin. You don't have to super chat with a sleeping 6-year-old and the wife downstairs. It's perfectly all right. And let me see here. John Sunrise, you can come see me. Why, John? Why are you even making this statement? Why? You know, and get a gallon of raw milk from their cow. Okay. It's just I can't tell whether you guys are serious or okay. Okay, thank you. Well, all right, thank you. NH, one moment. Gotta update the banner. This is great. There's nothing more fun than I like than trying to figure out what to say while updating the banner. It gives me something to do. And we are now at 4:30. So let's get that up there. NH, thank you so much. Hold on. Okay, thank you. You're keeping the lights on. Really, I have no idea how to really not how to make this very clear that without you guys' assistance, honestly, I can't do what I'm doing. And so, I mean, the goal is always to try to, we're trying to build here, and so that's what we're gonna do. Cybercrapper, do you think old believers would ever go to a Jewish doctor? All right, now you're just putting stuff together. You're just kind of putting words to, you know what this feels like? This feels like the Family Guy writing room. I don't think questions that are like this. Hold on. Let me see if this is. Yeah, here we go. Okay, hold on. If you guys ever watch South Park, Denise, thank you for that. A $5 super chat. I'm gonna put that on the screen. Let me see here. Thank you. That helps keep the lights on. And that brings the target down to 425. And we're moving. We're moving along. Okay. So yeah, the sea lion writing. Yeah, it's the Family Guy manatees. And so just for those who don't understand what I'm saying, it's taking a bunch of random concepts to putting them together. I wonder if I'm going to get demonetized for even referencing this, but why not? Okay, so that's kind of there's my point that just combining random things together is not always funny. I'm sorry to say this, it's not. But all right, so we continue on. Let me see here. Father Methodius says, "Hello, all. Couldn't find my hidden computer till just now. Congratulations to everyone with the cross. With the cross, it's okay. Let's see here." People asking for a blessing. Welcome back, Father Methodius. Good to see you. It's always. Oh, what? Wait, what? Hold on. I think I read something wrong. 1 second. Give me a second. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I did read something wrong. Hold on, please. Just I'm trying to verify things because all right, yeah, I screwed up on that. On that last donation from NH. Give me a moment. That was not $5. That was $250. So 245. Just all right. You know what? I'm so dumb. I'm actually gonna just, Okay, so our new target is $180. Thank you for keeping the lights on and keeping us going. I purposely put a target of 500 to make sure I could cover the mortgage, and I'm really close to covering the mortgage. Thank you. And so yeah, God, God bless. Thank you all, and God bless you, JH. And no, God bless you, NH. Excuse me. Did I give? I did give NH right. Yeah, I did. Wow. Okay. So let's take a look here. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna keep it up. I'm keeping it up. All right. So let's see. Again, this is the live Q&A show, and I've had strangely very few questions or comments. Well, I've had a few, and I do appreciate them. Let me see here. Old Believer Ethos, new YouTube channel. Anonymous Man says, last question on books I remember during a past live with you and Bishop Enoch, I believe. One of you mentioned that the Book of Enoch contained falsehoods. Is this true? And if so, what? To my knowledge, again, I haven't read the Book of Enoch in quite a long time, and it is referenced in Scripture. So, it is the question becomes of transmission, whether it was copied properly, whether ideas snuck in later that were problematic. Already Comia says, Father bless, God bless you. I think people should have to super chat to be silly, or at least that's silly. I am not going to charge people to be retarded on my show. I mean, not retarded, but not going to charge people to be silly or ridiculous. What? Hank, the mighty Hank Alflameo, is holy fire stage magic in your opinion? Absolutely not. It is not stage magic. Are you there, Hank? If you want, you can come on. We'll gladly have you on. But just click the link at the top of the chat. But no, the holy fire, from every witness I've ever spoken to, will talk about the fact that the light kind of comes in smoke. It's not so simple as it appearing coming from the patriarch and he's carrying secret matches. No, some people's candles every year are kind of lit from the descending fire itself, which people don't have a full understanding of. There was a Russian scientist who did he was doing a study of the holy fire, and he did a spectrographic analysis, and he said something like he said it was weird because when they were trying to study the area, and they kind of focused around the area where the holy fire descended, and also where the patriarch of Jerusalem is. And what they found is some sort of strange, almost EMP type of pulse shoots out at that period, and it's actually sustained, which is what's causing random flames. So it's not as simple as stage magic. No, it's not. It's not at all. Father Methodius says, for the record, someone asked about Father Moses. He's in Rocor MP and is very much in there after coming in from the OCA. Yep. Kevin says, I have questions about the church's stance on secular art, but that might cover a whole night. Let me work on a concise question. Cool. Okay, yeah, I have no problem with discussing it. Montefiore, who has seen it, says it looks like light or flashing of light. It is, yeah, it's not like the patriarch is walking out there and he's like, okay, boys, watch this. That's not what happens. Just, it's a solemn celebration with thousands of people holding candles and light literally everywhere. It is not normal. So that's kind of ridiculous. I read the Arch translation of the Book of Enoch and liked it. Father Methodius says also the fact of the holy fire, regardless of what jurisdiction presides over it, proves that it is a miracle. Yeah, absolutely. And you better believe there's a lot of true Orthodox in that crowd. Even now, there are true Orthodox in the Holy Land. Remember, the Roqueray had a bishop there just recently. I know that there was another bishop who was associated with the Matthewites who was in I want to say either Lebanon or Jordan. The idea that there's no true Orthodox in the Middle East is ridiculous. There are. They're not well organized, and Patriarch John can't stand them, and Patriarch Theophilus ain't too much better. But the whole point is, Patriarch Irenaeus eventually softened up to the true Orthodox. Patriarch Diodorus was a great supporter of the true Orthodox, and it's a lot of silliness. When people talk about Jerusalem like it's like it's like St. Nicholas in the OCA. It's not. It's not at all. Hank says, I can talk on panel. Let me get back to my studio. Sure. Hey, why not? And again, just throwing this out there, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. So support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net. with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, and Monero. We're on Give, Send, Go. And I will add, if I may, that I forgot what I was going to add. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's look at the comments again. We all know about the hostility, Kevin asks, but are there any World Orthodox jurisdictions or clergy that are at least friendly to true Orthodox? If so, can you name a few? To answer the question about jurisdictions, no, absolutely not. They hate us. They literally want us to disappear. If we did not submit to them under layman, they want us to get run over by a bulldozer. Like, they're killing monks on Esfigmeno. They really don't like us. They're suing our people in Bulgaria. No, the jurisdictions are all united, and it has nothing to do with the stance on truth, etc. It's just we're in the way. We're in the way. John MC says best book, Holy Fire by Harris Skarlakidis. Ilia Publications, Athens, 2015. I have not read it yet. As for clergy, Kevin, there are many clergy who are sympathetic to us. And many of them are becoming more and more uncomfortable and realizing they may have to join us. And because, it sounds like, sometimes it seems like everything is secure. But when your conscience is bothering you, and as a clergyman serving at the altar, etc. Whoa, okay. Thank you. Father Deacon Pacomius donates $50. I would have donated $3.50 or $3.50, Old South Park reference, but this is better than $3.50, and I can't do $3.50. Catholics, at least Latins, insist that the Holy Fire is fake stage. Shocking, right? Absolutely. One of the Union states they try to argue that he put the Holy Fire on his beard and it went on fire. This is a common thing. People don't realize that it is mystical, and when it first comes down, you can whoosh the Holy Fire all over the place. Just blah, 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 blah. Your face, your beard, doesn't matter. However, eventually the mystical part kind of vanishes, and eventually the actual wick gets lit. At that point, you're dealing with actual fire, and then you will burn your face. So don't do that. Allison Bernier adds, hello, everyone. How can I respond to my Protestant friends' family who denounce Orthodoxy as legalism? Inquirer, hoping to become catechumen soon. Thanks. What the simplest answer is, ultimately, when it comes down to that, is to first, again, keep it as simple as possible. Try not to get into too many protracted arguments. When people point out legalism, you can point to things like the prayer of the publican. You can point to things that the church used liturgical prayer and said the Psalms every day. Christian worship followed ancient temple worship, and ancient temple worship was not relaxed. It was formalized. It had the use of psalms in repetition. It had the use of prayers in repetition. And so, yeah, that's what I would focus on. I would focus on the history of old temple worship and remind them that sometimes I don't know what kind of Protestant background you have, but in many cases it's very aliturgical. So sometimes that message alone is enough to get them to rethink things. But you're in our prayers, of course, and God willing, you join the true church and are baptized, etc. All right. So then thank you both, Father Pacomius and Alice Meridian, for keeping the lights on. And I will be adding them to the banner. Well, first let me do the math. Okay, hold on. All right, doing math. See, kids, like if you don't become an engineer, you can become a YouTuber and not know math. No, I'm kidding. Okay. 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 Wow. Okay, that brought us to 125 left of the target. Wow. I'm kind of shocked. We're still in the first hour by like 4 minutes. But wow, hold on. I just put a percentage sign because I don't know math. Kidding, it's because my keyboard stinks. And no, it's not. It's because my wires on top. I'm like, okay, it's because I can't do math. All right. Anyway, let me see here. Yes, Father Methodius, show them how keeping the law is making you free. Absolutely. Father Methodius says this money's for real clergy. But yeah, it's very true. We are, by becoming slaves to Christ, as St. Paul says, we become, truly free. Yes, a blessing. Happy to help. I can't always, but when I can, I'm gonna thank. Well, thank you again, Father Pacomius. Really, really appreciate it. Anonymous man says the Church of God nowadays known as the Eastern Orthodox Church, say the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Eastern Orthodox Church, has existed for all eternity. Very true. John MC says when the Latins ruled Jerusalem in the 13th century, the fire never descended when the Latin bishop presided. It was then that they accused the Greeks of staging it with clever pyrotechnics. All of that is true. Let me see here. St. Michael Kilias says, I once read from an Anglican bishop who said Protestants were guided by faith, Catholics were guided by law, legalism, the Orthodox were guided by love. Okay. I believe they were guided by Christ, but okay. I'm not going to argue with the Anglican bishop because he probably died. Okay. So this has been incredibly productive. I'm gonna drink some water. Just gonna pour that out there. Yeah, this is good. Hold on one second. See if we can make this more dramatic. Yeah, just let me see here. That was great. All right, so let's see what we got here in the comments. Keep on checking. No green drink. Thank you to Matsushka Maria. Generous donation. Normally you don't name it. I know Father Antonius and Matsushka Maria now for many years. I was gifted $50 for green drink. So yes, morning kick. The Chuck Norris green drink arrived this morning just as I had run out. I'd held out those last 2 spoonfuls just so that I could get to, because I don't know, maybe Chuck sends it himself, but it takes a while to get there, like 3-4 days. I finally got it yesterday. I have the green drink, everyone. I will bring the green drink, for a show and tell this week. So yes, thank you. I am now no longer free of green drink. That's why you see I'm bouncing around. I got energy because I got like the spirulina and the stuff. That's my point. That's why I was like so depressed before. So Kevin Collins says when St. John Maximovich was ordaining Western Rite clergy, were the Antiochians friendly to him, being that they also did the same? No. they actually weren't really talking to each other. There wasn't a sustained Antiochian presence, to my knowledge, in France. They were in the U.S., and the group they were dealing with, with Anthony Bashir, it's just a separate group. They had nothing to do with each other. They weren't hostile to each other. They just had nothing to do with each other. Let me see here. Hired Deacon Piccone says Chuck Norris roundhouse kicks each batch of green drink you order. Okay, that's not true, but it could be. He's before they put it in the little cans. There's a big vat, I'm sure. He probably drop kicks that. Seth Williams says, I know about the beginning of the GOC of Greece, but what is the story of the beginning of the GOC in America? I really would. I mean, there's some complicated stuff there because each parish that formed individually had to deal with all sorts of stuff. One book that does have some details about that would be the book on Metropolitan Petrus of Astoria by Anastasius Hudson, who helps us out with the cafe, as well as the book GOC and Rocor by Subdeacon Ictarios, which is available on Amazon. I think they're both available on Amazon. I'm not sure. But that's just even part of the story. Up until there were really like organized hierarchs, like Metropolitan Petros or a couple of others in Canada, etc. Really, a lot of the GOC in America was based on lay people who were writing their bishops from the old country, which is, to be fair, 50 years before, exactly the way the Greek new calendarists who, were they old calendarists or new calendarists? They were just, Greek. And let me see here what's going on here. So thank you for that. Let's see. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, got that covered. All right. So now I'm going to do the check. I know that I don't think I got anything on the crypto, but I should check anyway. So let's check. For those who are wondering about crypto, I personally only really pretty much recommend 3, and that's only temporary for 2 of them. Basically, if you use like BTC, you're basically using the dominant and most proper crypto, for lack of a better word. LTC serves as just kind of like a light version of that, which has grown in substantial popularity. It has enough of a base that it's worth considering. And Monero is a security-based and privacy-based currency, which can also be used as a store value. But in any case, there's not a good, to get back to Seth's question, there's not a comprehensive collection of stories of the GOC in America. It would be nice, but there would be crazy stuff including like, churches that were true Orthodox that got stolen by an unscrupulous priest who hoodwinked his parish, and then sometimes they got him back. Crazy stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of odd stuff. Zolotus, God bless you. Let me see here. Kevin Klein says, what was your Metropolitan John's lineage from St. John Maximovich and Dom Augustine, or which old Catholic traditions brought into Orthodoxy via the Rocor? That's a bit more complicated a question. Dom Augustine Whitfield, he was with everyone and with no one. Basically, our own synod, which, before we were true Orthodox, which is, I guess, what you're asking about, was with under Father Bishop William Francis Brothers, and then eventually with the help of Archbishop Palladios Rudenko, they basically kind of began to orthodoxize, because a lot of people in the 1920s and 30s in the old Catholic groups is that they saw themselves as already Orthodox, and that was inaccurate, really, really inaccurate, and it had to be fixed. Father Methodius asks, what are some of the ways your group practices Holy Unction? We use it in Lent, and we use it when people are sick. I mean, outside of that, I mean, like, are you asking, like, what do we use the unction? We use it for people who are sick. And that's, for the healing of soul and body. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there is some other use I'm not aware of. If so, enlighten me. I have no idea. I just know I've used it for sick people and for their recovery. Father Pacomius says some of us have been around quite a bit before you settled down. Not unheard of, certainly. But no, I think that, well, we didn't really, I would say Metropolitan John didn't really move around. He was part of the brotherhood that was at Woodstock. There used to be, if anyone's been to the Woodstock church, there used to be a big monastic kind of a big Cenobium, just was a multi-room unit behind the church where the monks lived. And it caught on fire, and that was destroyed. And they needed to find Father Methodius says in Roquefort we only did it with our bishop. In the GOC we have a blessing to do it as parishes. I think we have a blessing to do it as parishes. But I've used the unction as needed. I've never heard of it being restricted by the bishop. But in any case, Kevin, yeah, must depart for the night. Okay, on the work on the art question, that's cool. And then to finish off that question, so many years ago, that Western Rite Brotherhood, which had started to affiliate with Archbishop Palladius in Woodstock, they had a fire, and many years ago, would have been in the 70s, I guess, or late 60s. They sent then Father John to go search for a property for a proper monastery. And eventually they settled on the property in West Milford, New Jersey, known as the Abbey of the Holy Name. So that's the end of that story. And then a whole bunch of other stories from there. Seth Williams, do the GOCC Roquefort is graceless? I've never thought to ask. I think they're using the cutoff of the union for the most part, because pre-union Roquefort, obviously most GOC do not see them as graceless. The overwhelming majority do not see them as graceless. But yeah, once you get to kind of like after the union, basically they're just an arm of the MPs. So when you're asking the question, Seth, you mean Roquefort MP, not all Roquefort, because it's not all Roquefort at all. And yeah, I would say that, let's see here. Father Methodius says, we see the GOC as a continuation of Roquefort. We distinguish between them and the MP. Well, yeah, I mean, the Roquefort is, continuing Roquefort. There are, obviously, I mean, there's other groups in Russia and the ROAC and the Orthodox. So, I'm not going to just dismiss them. They're important too. But the point is, the Roquefort MP is not the Roquefort. The Roquefort MP is a part of the Roquefort that was under the MP. And as soon as you understand that, better. I would say, use a dash, Roquefort dash MP, or use parentheses, Roquefort parentheses MP. Or, to be most honest, you can always use a MP parentheses Roquefort, because that's what they are. They're a little captured part of Roquefort. Let me see here what's going on. So, first off, I want to thank everybody so far. This has been amazing. Let me see here. Oh, brother. I just got something from, okay. Oh, thank you. Zolotis donated $3. Thank you. Everything helps to keep the channel going, and I am going to update that on the bar. Because now we are down. We're going down. We're taking it down, guys. It is now, the target is now $122. All right. Nick the Goat says, what is your stance on how old the Earth is? I understand humanity is around 7,000 years old. I had complicated that God built the Earth with age, and yet it doesn't explain fossils and animals that lived. Yeah, and I would say that, you're going to find surprises in the fossil record as well. I don't know how, but I do know that it is 7,533 in the year of our Lord, in the year of creation, and 2025 in the year of our Lord. So yeah, there are problems with the fossil record. Atomic Lead writes the flood, and he's true. And what's it called? Let me see here. Father Methodius is commenting on unseen warfare. Unseen warfare is coming back. So yeah, I would say there is little to me to suggest that any of the current old Earth theories are superior to the standard traditional dating of 7533. You will notice that even with the crazy 35 billion year timelines for Earth, humans somehow, well, it's less than 10,000 years. Heh, you don't say. Hank has joined the chat. Hank is kind of like a famous atheist from the Machine Lies channel, along with other things. Welcome, Hank.
Okay, so first, I had an issue with that. Famous atheist. What is your definition of atheism?
I thought you were going to say, what's your definition of famous? Okay, but what is your, okay, I'm assuming you don't believe in God proper, correct?
I guess that's incorrect.
Okay, so what do you believe, Hank?
So pretty much, there's more than one God, but there is a God proper.
What do you mean there's more than one God, but a God proper? How can, are the other ones improper?
Yeah. So if we say proper God is the one that created everything, yes, there is one of those. Then there's
so you believe in a single creator of the universe?
Yeah, single creator and multiple idols.
Okay, so you admit that, well, the other ones are idols. Okay, so we don't disagree here at all. I would call them demons, pretending to be idols, but
I want to know what's the difference.
Well, the difference is perception. A demon is a foul creature that was, that falls under the definition of fallen angel who tries to destroy humanity. An idol is a demon who has confused people into thinking it's a god.
Okay. But that's just a matter of opinion, though.
Okay. Unseen says 44,000 years old, actually. 7,000 comes from erasing certain scribes erasing genealogies. That's what Bishop Enoch told me. I know the traditional year of the creation of the world is 7533. I'm going with that. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, so basically, what's holding you back from becoming Orthodox, Hank?
The Orthodox, pretty much. They are not good. They're not good people. So if I had to,
have you visited?
If I spent the Orthodox Church only a couple of times, and I think I did. I protested like 10 years ago. I don't know if it was Orthodox Christian or Jew, but I don't remember. But pretty much, just the people. The people's holding me back. I don't. If I had to spend eternity in a what's that called country club with them, it might as well be hell. So.
Okay, that's an interesting take. So basically, just you find the people, and I would say that probably most of those are going to be World Orthodox, and they're probably just really obnoxious. But have you, have you been to a true Orthodox church at all?
Which one's the true one?
The ones that confess against ecumenism, that hold to all the traditions, like the traditional calendar, and basically hold to the Orthodox faith.
Probably not.
All right. What area are you in?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, United States.
I think that there might be something in the kind of Ohio and Midwest area. I'll follow up. I know you're friends with Unseen Warfare, right?
Yes. In fact, once the bell didn't ring, I saw you were doing a live via Unseen Warfare's post on Discord. So.
Yeah, that would have been a while ago. But we are bringing back the Discord. But yeah, Hank, I will see what I can do and see what we can find in your area.
Yeah, not your Discord, but he was in the Machine Lies Discord, and he said that you were alive. So that's why I saw you, because the bell didn't go off for me. So,
okay. Well, you're always welcome. We're here. Did you have any questions for me about Orthodoxy or anything? Or
yeah, I do have a question about the younger thing. Do you know about the heat problem?
The heat problem. Tell me a little more.
So pretty much, assuming a world flood without a miracle, if we have a miracle, that's kind of pushed on the table. But without a miracle, just the volume of water would have turned the earth molten.
I don't know about that. We don't know the extent of the global flood. We do know that there were non-Judaic sources It's recorded in Chinese history under the Emperor Io that there was a massive flood that overtook the world. The point is that, you know, the idea of the flood it does not necessarily mean that it was all over the entire world or the inhabited world. We have no idea about the depth. So, like,
Yeah.
the heat problem that you're talking about would require very specific conditions that are not necessarily guaranteed by the text. So, I wouldn't
Yes.
really see that as a big objection. I would just, study it a little more.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. But yeah, if it wasn't global as in the entire planet, then there's really not a big deal. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I would say study the matter more. I mean, there's some decent creationist literature. They, believe it or not, some of them really do apply the scientific method. They're a little afraid of us. I like the ICR. They do great science work, but on Genesis, Creation, Early Man, they wrote a review. I think it was them or Origins, and it was so funny because it starts with like 2 pages of warning. This book is by an Orthodox guy, and we don't want you to become Orthodox if you read it. But yeah, so I would suggest reading more on the flood. You'd be surprised at what you can learn. There's a lot of interesting science beyond it. But if you have no more questions, thank you for being on. Do you have another one?
I think do I have another one? Yeah. So I don't know if I'm misinterpreting Isaiah 45:7, which is my favorite Bible verse right now. What is it? I form the light and create darkness. God. Well, I should just read it. I don't think Isaiah. I thought I was gonna. I remember saying it wrong on camera. So was it? I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
That's from the KJV version.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm misinterpreting it, but it sounds like God create evil or at least calamity or suffering, which if you're being atheist, they'll say that's evil anyways. And right now I don't see any way to logically say God didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's different translations in terms of whether it's straight up good and evil. Some argue it's more along the lines of peace and chaos or disaster, like hurricanes, etc. And I don't think anyone would deny that God to some degree holds to that. But I think that the comment of even the concept of creating evils, I would say that God created the devil who became evil. So I think it would be denying responsibility on his part if he did that. So, but I think in the context, it sounds more like we're talking about things on earth in terms of like peace and disaster. So yeah, I would say that's not. I would say it makes sense. God is in that verse and in that passage. He's explaining he is in charge of everything that happens on earth. To some degree, God has to state that because without it, one can say, well, if you're not really the author of that, then who is?
Exactly.
And so I think he establishes I'm completely in charge, and I think that very much does so.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. It just I think debate unseen warfare, and he says like evil creates itself with something, or God just allows it. Then it'll be someone else higher than God that's in charge of it. So that doesn't make any sense. So
right, yeah, no, God is in charge of everything, and I'm sure that's how Unseen understands it too.
All right. I don't have anything else at this time. Talk to you later.
No problem, Hank. Great talking to you. You have a great day.
You too.
Okay. Let me see here. I think the Earth is just slightly older than the Younger Dryas event. I am not that versed in geology, but it sounds very geological. Okay. And let me see here. I have no idea. Sunrise says being in commune with the MP is only political. No, it's not. There's a spiritual aspect to when you join with a church that reported on and killed Christians. And so that's very problematic. Let me see here. I see that there's a lot of people are chatting with Father Methodius on the GOC, and I don't want to get in the middle of that because I'm not a member. So let's just put this up instead and say thank you for your donation. We've had a great night tonight. Thank you. We really needed a great night tonight. I did put a challenge at 500 to see if we could get close so that $400 mortgage could be taken care of and I could buy a cookie. We're really close. We're down. We're at $122 left of the target. Everything else is covered. Thank you to everyone on this list: K, J, H, M, F, N, H, D, H, P, A, B, and Z. And some of you've seen them live. They have names, but I'm not sure what to do with the names. Thank you again for all of that. So we're gonna keep going. Have you heard of the electrical universe theory? No. I've heard of, the universe being composed of electrons. I've heard that, but I've not heard of an electrical universe per se. So who knows? Let me see here. Not sure. So no, I haven't. But I will look it up now. Let's find out. Because electrical universe theory. What is electric universe? It is okay. Electricity and electromagnetism play a dominant role in shaping the universe's structure and behavior. Advocates of this theory argue like the phenomena like galaxy formation, planetary movement, and cosmic events can be explained by large-scale electric currents and plasma interactions. The theory suggests that stars are young and magnetic fields always accompany magnetic currents. I'm not sure that it's it's kind of a theory I could hold on to. I don't understand it, and it doesn't seem to add anything to current cosmological theories. Let me see here. What is this Elias guy talking about? Where'd he come from? What you doing? Or does have it, Elias? Why do you sound familiar? Who is this? But this claims he has grace. Father Boniface. Father Boniface has joined the chat. Welcome, Father Boniface.
Benedicite.
Benedicite. How's it going?
All right. I've been busy on the mend, and
how are you feeling?
I'm tired a lot, to tell you the truth, but I'm feeling a little bit better. But anyway, I'm not going to give you my organ recital.
Well, glory to God that the surgery went well. There were a lot of people worried and praying, and so it's good to see you're back and you're up. And a lot of people are watching videos that you've been kind of putting up. You are still putting up the catechism class, so
yeah.
Glory to God.
I appreciate everybody's prayers so much. I wanted to share with you something interesting, and I don't know if. We had Compline tonight.
Okay.
We just got done, and had one family who brought a friend from the neighborhood, and
Reader
so
John
I
is
had
joined.
Father bless.
Go ahead. I had given this young girl a Bible, and so this was about a month ago. And so they haven't been here for about a month. And so this young lady has read from the beginning all the way up to the Gospel of Luke.
Oh, wow.
In 4 weeks.
Wow.
I know. I couldn't believe it. And and I want to tell you something. I'm praying for this family and this young lady. And that's an answer to prayer. That's all there is to it. So I was frankly astounded. I was like, "Wow, that's a lot of reading." And she's so anyway. I just thought I'd share some of that good news. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the Lord's at work.
Glory to God. That's great to hear, and it's
Amen.
good to see you. Good to see you're up and about, feeling better. So welcome back, Reader John. How are you doing?
We're doing okay over here. How are you, Father?
Well, thank God. Thank God. Things are looking up. I'm like, this has been a pretty good stream.
Pretty close to a mortgage payment there.
I'm pretty close. Yeah, it's
Glory to God.
I'm very, very grateful to everyone in the chat, and we are working with them. Let me see here. Okay, so Elias, I don't know if you want to join the stream or anything, but I mean, it doesn't sound very believable, this claim here that I guess Metropolitan, I don't know when you're talking about. Maybe Metropolitan Demetrius said this many years ago. I have no idea. There's no context, but I don't believe that the GOC parishes are just,
come up here and talk with us. That would provide clarification.
Yeah. But otherwise, Father Methodius is answering just fine if he wants, just stay in the chat. He's also welcome to, anyone's welcome to join the chat. Anyone. So get in here if you got a question, comment. You're an angry heterodox who's watching this and seething, and you just gotta tell us off. Just let us know what you really think. We're here for you.
And angry taco salad.
Yeah, angry taco salad. He's not coming back. He's not coming back. That guy
was special.
It was special. Let me see. He mentioned Memento says you mentioned it was hearsay from Rocor and pre, so that makes a bit more sense. All right. So once you're like a guy spreading another guy's words about another guy, that, at least in my world, is called gossip. Welcome, Unseen Warfare. How's it going?
Hello.
So what's going on?
Nothing much. What are you guys talking about?
We were talking about what Elias said. Okay, whoa! Thank you so much, Bob, with $30 Canadian coming in the pinch. Lights on. Thank you so much. I'm going to add that to the banner. This is crazy. I've never actually seen this occur in live, real kind of thing, but here goes. So we're going to put that super chat in, and we are going to say,
wonder what that conversion is.
I can't imagine it's much at this point. They're pretty close, no? Hold on. I don't think it's that much. US dollar equals 20 Mexican pesos. That is just not
helpful.
Not what I asked. 1.43 Canadian dollars. Close enough. Enough. I'm counting it like regular dollars. And again, okay, his name is Bob. Bob, we salute you and thank you for helping keep the lights on. I'm counting it as a full $30. I don't care because that's close enough.
Hey, well, yeah, we love Canadians.
And we're gonna put that down. And
you're the new state.
That's true. I don't know if that's a safe joke to make, but anyway, I'm saving that.
I like the maple syrup.
From a $500 target, we are now down to 92. So thank you. And
come on, just 92 guys. I know we could pull that one out. Come on.
Exactly.
Wow. You got there quick.
Father Methodius asks, is Reader John orthodoxy or death? No, not to my knowledge. I don't know who orthodoxy or death is.
Is he talking about my picture?
I think that's Memento Mori.
No.
Usually.
Is Memento Mori orthodoxy or death?
I think it is.
All right, I'm not going to... Twitter, like other of these networks, is designed for anonymousness, and so I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. I saw like a few weeks ago. Oh, wow. Okay. Here's to 3 more hours and for all the Jewish donors. All right. He's supporting the Jewish donors. All right. Jewish donors. Thank you. Hold on. Let's
wait, do we have Jewish donors?
I don't know. He said for the Jewish donors.
Okay.
All right. So we're down to $90. So this is kind of amazing.
Well, we need to buy some box of Jeweeties. You might have to throw more in.
Got to get the Jeweeties. What happened to the Church of Japan? I know St. Nicholas did mission work there. The Church of Japan seemingly disappeared. Oh, it was worse than that. They dealt with Soviet persecution, a wave of nationalization / paganization, and all that. And it was chaotic and horrible for them. And then, of course, the wars. And then finally, in 1970, the OCA sold them off to the MP so they could get OCA.
They barely exist now.
All right, welcome, St. Michael Killia, Father Simeon. How's it going? Okay, well, welcome anyway. When he feels like talking, he can. All right, so we're going to do that. And let's see. Who is that? Father Methodius said, who is that Orthodox to your death guy? He was so rude to me recently. I remember him being rude to you, but I honestly do not have any idea who he is.
So if it was rude to Father Methodius, that's not me.
Yeah, Unseen, if you know, because I know that if it is Memento, I know that he got off on the wrong foot, but at one point, basically, I know Orthodox to your death on Twitter was basically just like, oh, well,
I'm not.
I don't need to respect.
If that's on Twitter, then I'm definitely not Orthodox.
Yeah, that's a Twitter guy.
No, I'm not.
Maybe Unseen, if you know who he is, maybe you can mediate, but I don't.
I don't even have Orthodoxy on my name on Twitter.
I don't know him like that. Like, all I know is, what I've seen of him on Twitter,
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, Orthodox to your death from Twitter, if you are listening, try to make peace. There's no need for...
What was the issue?
I don't know. It was a misunderstanding. Okay, wait a second. One moment, please.
I do have a picture of Orthodox to your death, the flag, but I'm not that guy.
Okay, we received it. One moment. We received a PayPal donation.
No.
We received a PayPal donation from SD. One moment. I am working on it.
Wait, SD, is that sub deacon?
Nope. I can't tell if people want me to put their names in. Let me see if there's a note here. Okay. It's from Canada.
I guess it's not Memento Mori. So
Man, Canada represented tonight. Is that the second Canadian?
No, yeah. It's yes, but give me a second, because this is great. And, all the best in food money that'll work. And this brings the target. It was $50 from SD, bringing the target down to $40.
Fantastic.
We are now down from $500 to $40. This is crazy. I'm like running some sort of crazy telethon or something.
Are you gonna tell jokes like Jerry Lewis?
I'm not that funny. Let's see here. Sunrise says Jeff Bezos is going to donate. Yeah, you may as well. But yeah, Japan it's a painful situation. Memento says, I don't know who Orthodox your death is. I just picked my name after learning it's just Latin for remember you will die. I'm not on Twitter. Okay, so I talked to Orthodox your death on Twitter, not privately, but I guess I can reach out to him and say, look, apologize to Father Methodius. Because he really should. I thought that was out of line, but unfortunately, when you're dealing with the whole internet social vanishing thing, you never know if you're talking to a serious person or not.
Well, what I will say is, like, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't know that that Father Methodius is one of us or something. I don't know.
Actually, I just realized I didn't include Hank's donation, and then he showed up live. He donated $2. So we're gonna have to update this. Hold on.
$38. Wow.
I'm kind of shocked.
You set the goal for 500. Wow.
I set the goal for 500, and I'm really, really close.
Man,
we're gonna add Hanko Flameo, so HO $2. So the goal is now $38.
You need one of those little thermometer.
I know that. I have it. What I need to do is I need to figure out OBS, and OBS is a nightmare. OBS is
complicated.
It's a program, and then you have to kind of use the camera feature, but it's a virtual camera, and then combine your virtual camera with the real camera, and then you want to put the bar underneath it. It's technical. It's fairly technical.
Yeah, it's overload. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure how to do it. Father Simeon, are you there?
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Getting over the surgeries, but this Friday I'm starting chemo.
All right. Well, you're in our prayers for that, and hopefully that'll lead to a speedy recovery.
I came online because when Hank mentioned where his location, I started looking, see if I could find a GOC or TOC for him. And to my surprise, genuineorthodoxy.org should be avoided or looked at for curiosity because it certainly ain't orthodox.
Let me take a look at what you're talking about. Hold on.
GenuineOrthodoxy.org.
There's always a new. Oh no! It's this guy. This guy. Yeah. This fellow is. How do I put this? Well, he originally comes from the Syro-Russian Byzantine Church, which was kind of a made-up grouping, and their leader's name was Stephen something, or was it? The point is, it turned out to be like some sort of very strange. It was a degree mill. Hit it. Okay, whoa, Hank hits. Sorry, thank you, Hank. With $8 updated again. Still trying to figure out how to OBS Studio so I can stream my games properly. All right, well we gotta update it.
Well, click on the their synod link and see who all there is.
All right, well, I will do that in 1 second. But first, we got to keep the lights on.
Oh, yeah, sure.
$8 added to that, and that brings us to $30 left. Can we close out the stream at $500? We are $30 away. This is crazy. Atomic Lead says that's the Colorado friend, right? No, this guy. Here, I'll just share it on the screen. Very weird scenario. And I hate using the word weird now because of the whole Snow White thing, and that was tragic and sad on its own. Probably the worst remake ever. Father Cybercrapper says, Father Methodius, forgive me. Okay. I don't know if he's owning up to being Orthodoxy or death, or he's just apologizing because his name is Cybercrapper. Sunrise. Yeah, I haven't heard of this. This guy, all right, I'm going to share the screen because you got to give your full props and explanations to people. So this guy is kind of making it up as he goes along. He originally had
he's a LARPer.
Yeah, he had originally tried to join the super extreme Matthewites with Bishop Pachomius. He tried to join Pachomius, and then Pachomius was like, he didn't he seemed to have no inclination to become a monk under him, etc. So he just tacked on that he was part of the Matthewites, and then he tried to join us, and he wanted a green card, us to do a green card for him, an application. He's claiming to be this bishop in Africa,
Nigeria, right?
With like 30 parishes, and then he wants a green card, and I'm sitting here like, wait a second, like if you're taking care of them and supposedly you go over there half the year, why do you want a green card?
Yeah, how come you don't have a green card?
Yeah, and it all started falling apart. We started asking things like, can you show us at least your services or show us things? And it's pretty sad. Let me see this. I believe he stole this picture from another place. Ironically, I think I know that place. And here's some generic kids. All right, we're done here with that. Okay.
There were more personalities in the synod page of theirs.
I'm afraid to look at it. But
everybody can go look at on their own.
Yeah, they were associated with. He was associated with some pretty bad dudes who actually made the national news for running a degree mill illegally and, basically kind of keeping people enslaved and stuff in the basement.
So if you could just give me one more second. Father Barnabas, hello.
Hello.
Reader John, hello.
Oh, Father bless.
And Brother Macarius, congratulations. Unseen warfare.
Okay. All right. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm praying for you, Father.
As I to you, Father. Thank you.
Oh, we got a donation. I think it's addressed to you, Father Simeon. All right. So thank you first off for keeping the lights on. Reconquista says for cancer, look into alts like febendazole, chlorine dioxide, sour sop,
Fenbendazole.
fe-
Fenbendazole. I have some
fenbendazole,
chlorine dioxide.
sour sop, apricot seeds, aspirin, baking soda, but don't trust docs, especially Jewish ones.
Sour sap tea is pretty good.
Yeah,
Sour
I
sop.
Go on
I understand what he means.
contraband cures.
Right.
Contraband cures.
Yeah, you can get that down in what was that Belize or Honduras? One of the two. And they say it helps with cancer.
All right. Well, I am
kind of believe it.
I'm not sure. I can't make recommendations for or against, but if you've heard of these, why not give them a try? Who knows? I mean, unless they're dangerous. All right, but with that, Reconquista Orthodox has dropped the total. The target now to finish is $25. Can we do it? We lost Father Simeon. Well, I'm hoping he's okay. Atomic Lead says what? I'm not sure what he's talking about. Memento Mori says, is this an Iteria king turned bishop who's always trying to email people about inheritance? No, different guy. Adrian Wyatt says, carbon 14 levels are on the rise, which means that the Earth cannot be more than 30,000 years old, according to the Museum of Creation. Yep. Hawaiian tradition has a flood survived by Anua, 24-part anonymous prophecy of Mount Athos. You know we don't believe in that one. 14, victory of Orthodox people is general slaughter of the sons of Agar by the Orthodox. Is the unrest in Turkey the start of this? Some people are hoping. I don't think it is.
Well, they're mentioning something about carbon 14 because that's not as reliable as they're thinking it was.
Atomic Lead as I was confused about the slavery thing. Well, basically the idea was that these were people who often didn't have they came from another country thinking they were going to get a degree. And obviously there should have been some red flags, but the point is then it ends up coming that they have to work for their degree, and their work means more advertising about their degree mill, so on and so forth. And in the news article, some people reported being trapped in the basement. Reconquista says, I'm making my move to Clearwater. Pray for me to make it safe and sound tomorrow. God bless your journey. Father Methodius, what did Orthodox Hear Death say? Yeah, I remember it was basically a question about respect to clergy, and then basically I remember Orthodox Hear Death saying something like, I don't respect you as a person, so it doesn't matter. I don't know how far it went after that. I wasn't paying attention.
That's definitely not me. That's definitely not me.
Father Boniface notes that to Reconquista, you'll be an hour and a half from me, which is good. And Atomic Lead says, whoa, Nelly, that's a problem. Yeah, it made the national news. I told you, this guy, stay away from this guy. All right, so this
Reconquista, are you going to the DOCK parish there, I guess?
That should be pretty close too.
Yeah, it says right there in Clearwater.
Yeah, I think that's where it is.
In Clearwater. Father Methodius, he says Albert N. That he just has no respect for me. No big for me no big deal for me, but a big deal for a priest. Okay. Sunrise says, Father Moses is going to start making Mr. Peace videos. This upsets me because I wanted to make those videos first. I wanted to do a show where we had challenges with different Orthodox people. And I was gonna, try my Jimmy voice and do it as well as I could. I had the channels that I was gonna call it Mr. Priest. Mr. Priest.
No way.
Anyway, all right, okay. See, I got that out of my system finally.
Or we could do NFTU Fear Factor Edition.
Yeah, but then I'm afraid of half the things that are on the thing. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna be covered up in spiders. No, I'm not. All right, so let me see here. Yes, sir, Father Theodoros. Memento Mori says carbon 14 has a somewhat reliable dating around 1,000 years, but that is being generous. I recall they goofed up dating on some volcano allegedly 100,000 years, but it was only decades. That's the problem. We haven't even really mastered these dating methods. Nick the Goat says, yes, to remission of the Theotokos in Clearwater. They have a YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow them if you're into following services. Yeah. Albert says, Father Methodius, I remember you mentioning Moses McPherson in one of your videos. Did you see the new video we made? Yes, we put it on this. We put it on the stream, Albert. If you're late, you don't get to talk about it. just because we talked about it already.
Unless you make a donation.
Yeah, unless you're making a donation. Because there's only $25 left of the $500 target. Come on, let's do it. And so yeah, if you can talk about it all you want, but you gotta pay. That's the most important thing. Anyway, wow. Okay. Wait, did I? No, I think this is wrong. Hold on. Just need to check this. Hold on. I'll check on the computadora. Nope. Okay. So that's it. Let me see here. Father Methodius. Okay, wait. Murray Runda says, what do you think of the thesis that the Tower of Babel, as described in Genesis 11, depicts the Bronze Age collapse? Connected with this, do you have any thoughts on Father Stephen de Young? Well, I don't know that I would necessarily connect the Tower of Babel to the Bronze Age collapse. I mean, I guess you could.
It's an interesting theory.
It's an interesting theory, but we need to see more support for it before really jumping on that.
Didn't you write that book, God is a Man of War or something?
Who, Father Stephen Young? Yeah, he did, and he also worked on, I think, one of the new editions of the Orthodox Study Bible, and he's an okay writer, but he's basically an establishment clergyman.
Yeah, it seems that way. I haven't read that book yet, but I looked into it a little bit because I'm interested in the topic.
Then let me see here. Father Methodius says, Albert, no, it's really difficult for me to watch him. When I knew him, he was a skinny little Athonite LARPer. Evangelos says, Tower of Babel precedes the Bronze Age by 2,000 years. What?
Father Methodius called that one pretty good.
What did he say?
What you just said.
That's what he said in the chat.
I know, but that's pretty darn accurate.
I can't even believe the guy was skinny at one time.
Wait a second. Okay, that's it. That's all. Matushka Maria comes in with the close. It's over, guys. It's over.
It's over.
No, it's
not over. It's never over, Father.
With a donation of $25, we have hit the target. And I mean, we could go over the target.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, we can stock up our orange drink surplus.
That's true. But I already got my green drink for the month. But we did it. Thank you to MM.
Praise the Lord.
And we have reached the target of 500. I've never tried this.
Wow.
I think you should do this again, Father.
I think I will. This might be a regular Sunday thing. Thank you. Now I can. Okay. Awesome. And we're in the 48th minute of the second hour.
All right. Now we can just chill.
What's interesting about the Tower of Babel is, Bishop Enoch brought this up to me, that it's sort of like how a one world government is going to be.
Exactly. They were trying so early on.
Yeah, I thought it was a prototype of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a type of exactly. But again, it's an anti-Pentecost when we consider what Pentecost is.
Yeah. Yep. It was the reason why we needed a Pentecost.
Yeah.
And Nebuchadnezzar is like a type of the Antichrist,
Right.
Yep. So glory to God. Okay.
It's interesting going through like Old Testament readings and just seeing where things are pointing towards now.
Yeah, it's sort of like a coil, things the way that prophecy in Scripture it repeats itself a lot, like foreshadowings and
Thank you, Rob. Keep the lights on. This may be old, but I'm going to put this up because I didn't put it up before.
Prefigurations.
Yeah. Well, as I get older, it's more like, hey, I'm waving the flag in front of your face. Here I am, pointing towards Christ. I'm like, oh yeah.
See, we started at Genesis, and I think we're getting through Exodus now. I think we're gonna read the whole Bible, and it's the first time I've really done that.
Oh yeah.
From the beginning to the end, I think.
I've done that multiple times, but what I notice every time I endeavor to do that is it's like it's a whole new book every time. because something always jumps out differently at you based on what you've learned about the faith or some experience you've had in life or what have you. It's amazing.
Letters from God.
Yeah.
Okay, one moment. I just realized I'm putting everyone in the banner as PayPal, Cash App, and they're not. A lot of them are super chats. So I am now moving them.
Okay. I would recommend everybody at least do that once in your life, front to back. I mean, you'll hear it at church either way. So.
Okay. Almost done. Okay, let me see here. All right. And so we put that up. Thank you so much again. Black Ortho Acolyte comes in supporting the channel, $10. Mr. Priest, what would be your response to those who say 1583 Sigillian is a fake document, not from the council? Showed up late tonight, so missed most of the stream. I thank you.
Mr. Priest needs a catchphrase.
Like and subscribe. No, anyway.
Like and subscribe.
No, seriously. What I would say to it is, in all honesty, that even if the document that is putatively the 1583 Sigillian is fake, the events that happened around it were not. They were actually very well documented. And so the fact that we may or may not have what is an accurate representation of the 1583 Sigillian is irrelevant to the fact that all the things that it says are correct. So that's what I would say. Let me see here. Father, what do you think about stories like cryptids, like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster? Are they demons? I don't think so. I think we've discussed this. I've had Bishop Enoch on before. We've discussed Dogman, and we just assume they might be real animals.
A lot of things we still don't know.
Yeah, and let's see here. So give me one moment while I update.
You know that castle around the pictures of the Loch Ness Monster?
Uh-huh.
That's the castle of my Scottish clan.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Cool. That is awesome. Okay, let me see here.
Father wears the kilts on the weekend.
What?
Father wears the kilt on the weekend.
I've never worn a kilt ever. I really need to. Subscribe to my clan.
Hey, you got a cassock over it. Nobody will ever know.
Let's see
cassock
here.
with my clan colors.
Kenosis says, wouldn't matter because 1583 wasn't the only condemnation. Correct. Albert N says, why would they forge it decades before the calendar was changed? They didn't forge it. It wasn't claimed to be forged decades before the calendar was changed. It was actually claimed to be forged 2 centuries later. 1756 also condemned the papal calendar. Correct. Yep. There were more condemnations of the new calendar. Correct.
Pascalian and Manan.
Yeah. And yep, exactly. Reader John and Hank says, Reader John, I know about the Orthodox Church, but most churches cherry pick and you will barely know 10% of the Bible just listening to the church services. I can guarantee you, if you listen hard and read with our church services, you will definitely know more than 10% of the Bible.
Yeah. That's just that.
Albert N says, they're real animals and they are nice. Sunrise asks us to invite the Loch Ness Monster. Again, the line is open. It's at the top of the chat. Albert N says you can talk.
I mean, the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever you want to call it. No. You're welcome up here if you want to come up here. We might not understand you, but you can try.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So we are in 54 minutes in the into the second hour, going on hour 3. We have reached the target at a total of $512 for donations. Thank you. I never tried that, and I am amazed, and I am thankful and grateful to all of you. All right. So Sunrise says Bigfoot is in the Slim Jim commercials. We can get his number. Okay. Father,
what about Fat Boy?
Father, what are your thoughts on Tartaria? I don't. I'm pretty ignorant. So Tartaria refers to a group of pseudo historical conspiracy theories, including hidden. Is this the stuff like Atlantis and stuff? No, this is Russian Atlantis stuff. Okay. I find the sauce of the Tartaria very good with French fries.
Dude, tartar sauce? No. Mm.
But I do not know. I don't study. I just don't do like the wacky stuff. Cybercrimer says we need a stream on Tartaria and ley lines, and you will have to find somebody who knows this stuff and wants to host it because it isn't me, and I'm not going to study.
Do they eat steak tartare in there?
No, I don't think so. Steak Tartaria. I'll visit Steak Tartaria. That's after Lent.
After Lent.
But Howard says, yeah, we need videos on ley lines and Tartaria. All right, well, I also know who's donating, and so
ley lines.
I don't even know what those are. Stream on Agartha. Okay, it's just we're getting. Yeah, I think people are starting to get more and more like eclectic as they see it slowly heading towards hour 3, and they're not sure if they can get hour 3.
You guys might be fasting a little too hard.
It says, just met a Matthewite for the first time a couple of days ago. What's your opinion of them? I think they're great people. I know that a couple of my stepkids are their godparents are Matthewites. So as far as I'm concerned, I have Matthewites in my family. What is your opinion of them? Yeah, my opinion is they, I disagree with the single-handed thing, but I don't disagree with anything else. And in many cases, I support what them and what they do. Also, where do the divisions of the Matthewites didn't come from? Ask them. The person I met was under Sozomenos. Ask them. How about the ether free energy that's around us? I assume you're referring to the Tesla experiments that demonstrated that there is electricity in the air that can be harvested. The problem is that, as I understand it, it's not enough. It's not enough electricity unless you are going to like really high electricity areas, places where there is an electrical field. It's really heavy to harvest it, and it's to me it doesn't. From what I understand, the amount of energy you can get from it, you can get from a crank motor. So I'm not sure that I'm like gonna see about that. Evangelos asks, do you think the relics at Compostela are authentic? It seems the relics uncovered there in the 9th century, but I think it's doubtful that they are St. James. Ooh, that's a tough one. The relics at Santiago de Compostela.
In Spain.
Yeah, that's where you have to realize that the Ruta de Compostela, the walk that goes all the way, the whole pilgrimage, that was really heavily developed, especially in the 9th to 11th century, to raise money for the Crusades. So there's a question as to they built the Santiago Cathedral there in like 820, and there's a real question as to whether they found the relics, bought the relics, or
I think traditionally they ended up there, but I don't know if the merchandising around it starting in the 9th century. I think that's problematic from an Orthodox stance, but I think the relics, I don't have any reason to doubt it based on.
Yeah, you'd have to look at the relics and see if they actually have the cap on it and where that came from. Because it's possible that in fact they just brought relics of St. James from other places. So I'm not sure.
Like I can give you an example. There's like a Chapel of the Holy Blood in Belgium, and it's a Roman Catholic church, but the blood, which is supposedly collected from when they were preparing Christ for burial, is in a Byzantine perfume bottle. So could it be an authentic relic? Maybe
replaced, but also there's questions.
There's a lot of questions.
A Black Ortho Acolyte says, I thought the single-handed consecrations were corrected by Rocor. Yes, but there became an argument as to whether or not they were really corrections or they were blessings. And so there's a good number of Matthewites who believe that their orders did not need correction. Even though to me, I think at least logically it would be better to say that more of the church recognized those orders, but that's not really done.
Father, can you clarify what was the stance? This is my ignorance. Can you clarify the stance of the bishops that were actually their ordinations were corrected? The people themselves, how they viewed it. I know when they went back, there's controversy, but did they accept it?
The people actually took the orders in. Yeah, they did. And they complained to their people and explained that they really should accept these because it's better for the unity of the church. But they ended up sponsoring what would become the Callistos Synod. Like Callistos was one of the two bishops who was corrected. And so he ended up creating a sort of combined Matthewite Florinite synod that was the Callistos Synod, and that would eventually drop off and become the SIR. Did you see like Chicago before the 1900s and the fires that destroyed that beautiful city? It depends on, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Not everyone thinks big beautiful cities or big fancy cities are beautiful. Cybercrapper says, Albert, I'll do it for 50 cents. Deal. Shock. Each video has to be ours. Father Methodius, good night all. Good night, Father. And actually, that's not a bad idea for the rest of us. Before in the West, they did, but they had the blessing of the primates that they were with. So they'd have like, St. Patrick, I think, or one of the confessors of England did a single-handed consecration, but he had the blessing of the Roman Synod, so it was considered valid. Didn't the Romanians had single-handed consecrations that were never corrected? I don't know if they were never corrected. That's tough. Okay, Blackwood the Wackless says good night. Anastasi says good night. I'm taking the message, people. So in that case, I will say thank you to everyone, to our guests who are here. Well, to our people who have helped out on the show, like Father Boniface, Radio John, Unseen Warfare, to guests like Hank, to our listeners, to those who had questions, had comments, and those who support our mission. Big congratulations and thank you for that. I really appreciate you. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net, on Give Us and Go or on Odyssey. Remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. And as always, please like and subscribe. And with that, I will grant Sunrise your 60 seconds.
Of silence?
I don't know. One more. He said 1 more minute. 1 hour, Father. We've already gone 2 hours, 2 minutes.
I think they were just saying good night to Father Methodius.
Okay. All right. Well, good night to Father Methodius. Good night to everyone in the chat. Anastasi, Blackwood the Acolyte, everyone who's saying good night. Father Methodius. Okay. I don't know what the sun eye emoji means. Cybercrapper says 12 hours stream. Good night. Yeah, no. Denise says LOL. Good night. Oh, God bless. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. I think it's been a minute. So, Sunrise says, give me a breakdown of the last 100 hours of church history and make sure it's super in depth. He says, let's pay off something else. Maybe next week. Hank is 10% of the way to 5K. All right, people. Good night. We're leaving. Goodbye. God bless you. Good night.
All right.
Good night. Bye-bye. Good night to you too, Albert.